Think about this. Why is it that some guys look young and healthy into their 80s while others look ancient in their 50s? In this video, I'm going to tell you the secret of how I managed to reverse 20 years of aging without any expensive biohacks and how you can do it too. If we haven't met before, I'm Seth, ER doctor, former special ops guy, and father of four. Now I'm just a neighborhood health nerd who tries to help thousands of men increase the number of years they feel amazing. So, how did I do it? And how can you do it too? Let's get into it. Let me tell you a quick story. Growing up, I stayed in pretty good shape. We lived on a farm, so working outdoors was the norm. I also played sports, and my parents encouraged us to eat healthy and basically led by example. Then I went into the military and spent years surrounded by men in peak physical and mental condition. Our life was training, mostly outdoors, so it was pretty easy to stay healthy. Then I became a special agent with the government, and I continued to stay in pretty good shape. Although the constant travel, it kind of started to wreak some havoc. And for some weird reason, I decided to go back to school and become a doctor. That's when things started to shift in the wrong direction. I spent most of my days indoors. I moved significantly less, and I began to eat whatever I could shove in my mouth between classes and patient rooms. I was really stressed out from constantly taking tests, and I was dealing with PTSD issues left over from war. I was supporting a wife, I had 3 kids, and I had like zero extra time for myself. My doc had given me a few diagnoses and put me on a few meds already. I saw a picture of myself one day without a shirt on, and I stared at it in disbelief. I had gotten soft, like dad bod soft, and I felt like a bag of shit. I was slow and weak, and I knew it. And it hit really hard. Going from an elite operator to a dad bod with a weak mind absolutely crushed me. I spent years in that state until one day I said enough was enough, and that if I had accomplished everything I had in life, that there was absolutely no reason I couldn't fix this problem. So, first thing I did is I went and got blood tests done, and it showed that my metabolic age was actually 12 years older than my biologic age. That sucked, but at least I knew where I was at. And then I dedicated the next 6 months to focusing completely on my health. I did tons of research and basically turned myself into a human experiment. I got rid of the bullshit that didn't work and only kept the things that made real change. Now, I work full time as an ER doc. I also run my own business. My wife works full time. I have 4 kids to look after. And I'm happy to say I'm off all my medications. I have no chronic health problems and am fitter and happier than I've been in 20 years. I stepped on my body analyzer a few months back and it said I was a decade younger than my biologic age. And I didn't believe it. So I went and had hundreds of tests done and it came back with the exact same conclusion, 10 years younger. So today, I'm going to show you a few of the big things that I implemented to make it happen. Now, there are many other things that are needed to bring all of this together. It's more than I can share in any one video. So if you want access to the complete course, it's in the description. But this video will get you leveled up big time. All right. So the first thing is mindset. I began to think young again. You have to stop calling yourself the old guy. The way you speak to yourself matters. Your subconscious mind is always listening. Every time your brain hears something, every time you say something, every time you do something, your subconscious mind is sending out road crews to pave the way. With each recurrence of that thought or action, the road is made wider. So it's easier for more traffic to flow down that neuron. This is called neuroplasticity. It's your brain's ability to form and modify connections, and you're capable of doing it your entire life. That means if you continue telling your brain that you're old, it actually creates paths to ensure this thought is easier each time, and acting accordingly becomes easier. Essentially, it becomes easier for you to act old. And since we are what we repeatedly do, you therefore become old. You put shit in, you get shit out. So you got to change it up. Start telling yourself that you are young again. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. Keep playing, keep traveling, keep exploring, keep building things and learning new things. Keep the mindset you had when you were young and the world was your oyster. Do this, and those old roads will get closed down, and your brain will build brand new highways to ensure that you stay young forever. Just a real quick aside though, the back-end data on YouTube shows me that only about 20% of the guys who watch this are actually subscribed. If you are getting some value, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up right now. There is no downside to you, and it goes a long way to ensuring I keep bringing you this info and bringing it to guys who really need it. I appreciate you, brother. Number 2, body. First, sleep. I made sleep my number one health priority, the foundation of health. Without this, everything else crumbles. Arguably the most underrated and yet most important aspect of health and longevity, period. A single night of poor sleep decreases your ability to fight infection. It causes you to hold on to more fat. It increases anxiety. It hampers muscle growth, lowers testosterone, increases hunger, increases brain fog. And after 24 to 36 hours without sleep, you literally are clinically intoxicated. Studies show that night shift workers significantly decrease their lifespan and their health span. In fact, medical residents used to be forced to work multiple days on end without sleep, until recent studies showed that patients were actually being harmed due to mistakes caused by this lack of sleep. Now there are measures in place to help mitigate this. When I was preparing for deployments to Iraq, we underwent these really long training cycles, sometimes 6 to 18 months long, that ended in a 5-day event where we would run continuous drills throughout the day and the night. Mainly, we would have like a small nap here or there, basically enough so that they couldn't get sued for torture, probably. On night 5 of this, I was driving one of our bomb disposal robots, and in its grips was a couple pounds of C4 explosive. I was carrying it downrange so that I could detonate an IED safely. And all was going well, at least in my mind, until the next thing I know, the guy next to me is hitting me, telling me to wake up. I wake up and I look at the screen and I realize I had ran the explosives directly into a fence. Now, luckily, C4 is relatively safe on impact, so no harm done. But what could have been the consequences of this or something similar in real life scenario? Your health, your longevity, your sanity, and your safety all depend on you getting enough good sleep. So aim for 7 to 9 hours per night. Cool, dark, silent room, no foods, no screens, a few hours before bed, no liquids an hour before bed so you're not up all night pissing, no caffeine after 2 p.m., no alcohol to just get yourself to sleep. Ensure you're getting enough movement during the day to expend all the energy from the food you eat, and no naps during the afternoon. That's called sleep hygiene, and it's literally a recipe for adding years to your life, okay? If you are struggling with sleep issues, I have an entire guide on this exact thing that you can get access to inside the Tribe Inner Circle. The link's below if you want to grab that. Second, kept moving. I started to move more. Your body was made to move. When you stop moving, you start decaying. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans moved throughout most of the day. We lived in accordance with nature and we adapted to move with the demands of it. Only in the past couple hundred years have we become so sedentary, and it is like only getting worse every year. I see people frequently in the ER after falls. For some reason, the gravity in Florida seems to be very strong. Often they will break their arm or their humerus here, and we'll have to put them in a sling to recover. One of the very important things that we tell them to do is to make sure they pull their arm out of the sling every day and rotate their joints. If they don't, this can result in what we call frozen shoulder, making it very difficult for them to regain full range of their arm ever again. Now, why do I say that? Because I want you to think about your entire body this way. We spend the vast majority of our lives sitting, which is the equivalent of putting us into a sling. Therefore, we must intentionally get ourselves out of our desk chairs, off our couches, and begin to move again. Use a walking treadmill at your desk, go for walks at your lunch break, go for walks at home after dinner, roll around on the floor with your kids, do mobility exercises, just start to move again. And third, solid nutrition. I began treating food like medicine. When I was in medical school, I heard a quote by Hippocrates, the father of medicine, that said, "Let food be thy medicine." You may have heard this before, but it got me thinking about how much we rely on medicine to fix our problems. We figure we can just pop 1 or 2 pills per day and our blood pressure magically is fixed. I have people come into the ER all the time, and when I ask them if they have any chronic health problems, they tell me no. And then I ask what medications they are, knowing they're completely full of shit, and I get a list of about 15 different medications. When I tell them that one of these medications they're on is because they have high blood pressure, which is a chronic health problem, they tell me they don't have high blood pressure anymore because they're on the medication. And while that's funny, it's also really sad for so many reasons. We believe that we can take one pill a day and it will fix our problem, but we neglect the 3 to 5 other massive pills we put into our mouths daily. And by that, I mean your food, your meals. The vast majority of health problems are not some spontaneous anomaly that just happens to you. They're far more often a direct result of the way you live your life, of the things you put into your mouth, of the way you move your body. The food you put into your mouth 3 to 5 times per day is not just 3 to 5 times more important than that pill, but rather thousands of times more important. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to eat some new trendy fad diet. What I am prescribing to you is to eat as close to nature as possible. If you eat meat, for instance, eat it as close as possible to the way that nature intended it to be raised. That means free range, grass fed and finished, open pastures, wild caught, no hormones, no antibiotics, etc. For produce, try to get as close to true organic as possible. Go to your local farmer's market. You can usually find produce that was just harvested in the correct season and very often grown without chemicals and GMOs and all the additives. Stop eating so much sugar. When I was in Hawaii for vacation last year, I learned that it takes an entire stalk of sugar cane to produce a single cube. That means you are consuming multiple stalks worth of sugar with each cup of coffee or a whole bunch of them for one soda. Think about that. That is not the way that nature intended us to eat that ingredient. There are thousands of other examples, but I want you to just start thinking about nutrition this way. Get as close to the way as nature intended us to eat that product, the way we ate for hundreds of thousands of years. I'm going to throw a free guide down below that will compress all of this into one document for you. So make sure you grab it before you leave. Number 3, connections. First, I found my tribe. If you have never heard of it, there was a giant study that was done called the Blue Zones. They were looking at all of the places in the world with the longest living populations and figuring out what made them live so long. And one of the main things that they found that extended not only life, but youthful years is surrounding yourself with people you love and who love you. People who look after each other and bring joy to each other's lives. If you think about our primal origins, this is the way we lived for the vast majority of human history. We lived in small tribes. This was vitally important not only for survival, but also for our minds. Human connection is so important to our well being, the opposite of which would be putting someone in complete solitude. And experience and studies have shown that solitary confinement is a great way to make someone lose their mind. It will literally make a human go crazy. Now, as an introvert, sometimes I definitely feel the call to lock myself away from the world for an extended period of time. But in all reality, even I would lose my mind after a short period of time. Studies show solitude increases depression and anxiety and a variety of other health maladies. All this is to say, it is imperative that you find your tribe and you stay closely connected. Online communities and friends are amazing and can provide incredible value, but they should be an extension of your real life tribe, not a substitute. And second, I reconnected with nature. As I have already mentioned, we spent centuries closely connected with nature. We lived it, we breathed it, we slept in it, we came from it, and we returned to it. Yet as we progressed as a species, we forgot our origins. We somehow have come to believe that we are above it and that we no longer need it. We destroy it and we disregard it, we neglect it at our own demise. Remember, nature does not need us, but we very much need it. Long after humans destroy themselves, nature will live on and thrive all the better for it. It was here before us, and it will be here long after we are gone. If we think on a fundamental level for just a moment, we came directly from nature. Each of your trillions of cells are literally made of the same molecules that made the trees and the oceans, the mountains, the sun, and even the stars. When you die, your cells will break down and they will return to the earth to create the next thing, be it a rock or a human or whatever. You must understand that you are not separate from nature. You are nature, and you need to live as such. Each aspect of nature provides benefits to your health and life. It produces the oxygen that you breathe. It cleans the waters and fills them with minerals. It produces the foods you eat. The sun shines in your eyes and on your skin and creates essential molecules and vitamins inside your body. The earth itself vibrates at a frequency that calms the human nervous system and exchanges electrons with your body to decrease inflammation. The seasons bring both stress and recovery needed to keep you healthy, and the list goes on and on. Studies out of Japan have shown that walking through natural settings, such as forests, also known as forest bathing, decrease stress, inflammation, and improve the immune system. And this is literally just by walking through them and breathing in the plant chemicals. So get outside, plant your bare feet on the earth, sit in silence, walk in the sun, be part of the seasons, open your windows so you can actually feel the weather, rise with the sun in the morning and rest with it at night. Allow your body to become one with it again. And number 4, mission. I found my why. This was another finding from the Blue Zone study. The Japanese call this ikigai. It is your reason for getting up in the morning. I don't mean your job, although it could be. I mean your reason for being, the thing that pulls you forward. A job pushes you forward, a mission pulls you forward. You can feel it. It's the thing that excites you to get up for. And maybe you have ignored it for so long that you can barely even feel it anymore, but everyone has one. And it's time to listen again. That is your thing. That is your mission. And it may change throughout your life, but you must always find it and follow that thing that calls your soul. In medicine, one of the observations that's been made is that after people retire, their health tends to get significantly worse, and they will often die shortly after. And there are multiple reasons for this, but a big one is that they lose their reason for getting up every day. But lots of people have proven that it doesn't have to be that way. When you find your new why, your new mission, your new ikigai, your health actually improves. You get sick less often, your mental health improves, you're more positive and happy. Finding your mission is essential, and it's really not that hard. Just sit down and think about the things in your life that really get you excited. Not in like a superficial sense, but the things that create the excitement from the inside out. The ones that you start telling someone about and you keep talking for 10 minutes straight while they just stare at you like you're crazy. You could even ask someone close to you what they think your thing is. Maybe you don't realize what it is yet, but they've seen it in you for years. Then, after you find it, create your 10-year plan to get there and then reverse engineer it back to the present day. Now you have your mission and your goals. That's it, brothers. Those are the big moves that allowed me to reverse years of aging. Nothing fancy, no biohacks, just shit that actually works. Make sure you check the links below to get your free guide or the entire course, and watch this video next if you want to get your sleep dialed in now. Until next time, keep moving.